why not start with you?
Yeah, I have one question for the grand dork.
And Jackie Mason is hopping mad.
We need one nut in order to make everybody else feel sane.
There's no debate. This show is truly politically incorrect.
Hi, everybody. Thank you. Welcome to the program. Thank you. Most of the guests on my panel today, these guests are not merely controversial. Their critics claim they are outrageous, they are outspoken. Some of them are wildly out of step with the American mainstream. Many of their opinions range, at least some of them, from disgusting to deplorable. Others slightly more conservative. To say the very least, this group is politically incorrect. Daniel Carver of the KKK, Grand Dragon of the Georgia chapter. What do you think of the OJ trial?
I think OJ Simpson done us a favor when he cut that white slut's head off. I just wish he had done it. I just wish he had done it before she breeded them two little mongrels.
Flo Anthony, comment.
She committed bestiality. The Bible says that if a woman lays down with a beast, she should be put to death. But then
Mary, what I have to say is that years ago, I think before I was born, my cousin Patsy was killed in Mississippi, and it's always been suspected by the Ku Klux Klan. So I don't think anybody should pay any attention to whatever this man says about the deceased Nicole Simpson
that the Ku Klux Klan burnt the school down, and we now wait till they arrested him last week for it.
So I just think that we should ignore him because he's not just ignorant. There's no word to describe him.
I'm scared of you.
You can't be but so scared just sitting in this room with us.
Is the O.J. Simpson trial, Flo, all about race?
No, it's not all about race. Race has played a part in it because anytime you've got people that are black and white,
comes out and says it's all about race.
But anytime you've got a African-American man convicted of killing two Caucasian people, race will ordinarily, it has to play a part in it.
Bob Grant, has this case spun out of control?
Yeah, please, let's not be distracted by the guy in the costume here going to the Halloween party, whatever
Let's focus on this issue.
Let's try to focus on, you asked about the OJ trial. The OJ trial should have been over a long time. The biggest mistake was letting those cameras into the courtroom. Once the cameras go in there, everybody, look at people in the audience, look at us here. The cameras are on, we act a little differently. And once they decided to put those cameras in that courtroom, that was the end of that. And I'm sick and tired of seeing these polls that show that only 13% of the African-American population think OJ is guilty. I think they're smarter than that.
But I think that that's a very presumptuous statement for you to make. Polls are polls, and as you know, we said earlier, no one is guilty until proven guilty.
Yeah, but wait a minute,
and so they, you know,
people have the
right to their own opinion.
To facilitate our discussion, I'm going to bring out a co-host,
so how
a
dare you,
commentator
white man,
of
be
social
sick of
issues, a man who
vote.
really inspired this program. Let me bring out Jackie Mason. Come on out, Jackie. The man, come on. Jackie Mason.
How do you do? How do you do?
All right, what about O.J. Simpson?
How do you do? Pleasure to see you. I know I heard the conversation is about O.J. Simpson. I'm not saying the man is guilty, and nobody has a right to say he's guilty. The case has not been adjudicated yet, and nobody could swear that he's guilty or innocent till proven guilty. It could be that this man is innocent, and it could also be that this building is in Philadelphia.
Yeah, but
Bob Guccione, publisher of Penthouse magazine, fine artist in his own right. What about the trial?
What was the question?
The trial.
Wake up.
The judge? I think Judge Ito is way out of his depth. I think he's lost control of the courtroom. I think both the defense and the prosecution are making a three-ring circus out of it. There's no way in the world can this be a fair trial, and I think Bob Grant was right on when he said the minute they put that camera in the courtroom, they perverted justice. You cannot turn a camera on somebody and expect them to act normally, give normal testimony, or be themselves.
Bob's right. The cameras are perverting it, but it's because all the judge, all the lawyers are thinking about the book deal. They're all auditioning forever. It's the longest audition in history, and I don't think that it has anything to do with race. There is a certain point to me where you are so famous that you don't have any race. OJ's not a black guy. He's OJ.
That's not.
They cut her head off.
Really
No,
don't
most
think
people
that's
never
think you're
had
right
it.
on that score.
But that's because you're not black. But that's only
race.
because you're not black. No matter how famous Juice has gotten, when he wakes up in the morning, when he goes out the side of the street, which he hadn't done in a year, he's still black. So
He might be black, but it's a ridiculous thing to say that people see him as black. People see him as a man they've always loved, and the white people have always loved him just as much as the blacks. And I think it's a phony thing to say that white people are racist in this country, especially towards a man like him. The cops, that's right. You ought to have, that's an insult. That's
Joining
an insult.
us from
That's an insult to the
Philadelphia.
white people of America.
Jackie
Everybody loved this man.
mentions
And
Philadelphia.
everybody had the highest respect for him.
Shahrazad Ali, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Shahrazad Ali, the author of Are You Still a Slave? Is it not a fact, Shahrazad Ali? First of all, we're seeing your picture now. You can't be with us in person because of travel difficulties, but you're a woman of African-American descent. Is it not a fact that you don't care if Simpson actually committed these homicides? You want him to walk free?
Well, I think he's guilty by reason of insanity. Not that he got so upset about, getting there and seeing her with someone else and killing them. I think it's because he had lost his mind when he left his own black woman to go over to this white woman. Now, about the other comments you all been dealing with, see, the fall of Rome was not an event, as we know. It was a process. And the process was the breakdown and the destruction and the dismantling of all the systems that had been originally established to maintain civilization. So what we're seeing in the government, what we're seeing with the Waco and the Oklahoma and all of these things, it's not outrageous that those children got killed in that way. Children have always been killed and sacrificed in America. First the Indian children, then the African children. And so that's not a new incident that we're dealing with. And I'm just as upset about those things, even though they happened 400 or 500 years ago. We are approaching as the grand wizard.
Shahrazad Ali, do you want O.J. Simpson, regardless of whether or not he committed the homicides, insane or sane, do you want him to walk free?
Well, I think if you're going to wind up all of the white people to kill black people, then you ought to keep him in there. But if you're not going to do that, yeah, he should go free.
Blanquita, come in.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that. We're sitting here and having to figure out, well, because he's cute, or he gets 2,000 letters a week from women, or because he's a black male, or because he's bigger than life personality. Either the guy did it or he didn't do it. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what color he is. He's either did it or he didn't do it.
Blanquita is the only woman with the only national Hispanic talk radio program in America. She's outspoken. She's unapologetic. Blanquita Cullum, nice to have you.
And thank you, Geraldo. I'm sitting there thinking about this. It's day 85 or whatever, and the OJ, jury is still being held hostage. They're in
it's more like 140.
I'm telling you that it is more confining, the situation.
But Raoul
that they're
Felder,
in
what do you say to Shahrazad Ali, who suggests that Simpson, for race alone, should go free?
Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, first of all, this whole trial has as much to do with criminal justice as the lady in the white dress has to do with common sense. African-American jurists convict African-Americans every day in the week in the United States. It's all nonsense here. What the polls, please, what the polls say is if there was a Jewish defendant and you took polls of Jewish people, they'd say they hope he's not guilty, sure.
Well,
but when they go in a jury room, they're sensible, and the African-Americans
Oh,
are going to be
Shahrazad,
sensible.
you think there's a conspiracy? What is it?
I think there is one, and we have plenty of reason in America to believe that there's a conspiracy. We have been tricked for 435 years, and there's no reason to believe that this time the police have been pristine.
So, my God, who would want to be a policeman in Los Angeles?
Well, let's be honest about it. The white cops came there a dozen times, found her beaten up, sometimes busted up all over the street, all over the place, and they kept excusing him, exonerating him, avoiding anything. If it was anybody but him, wouldn't he have been accused of violence a lot earlier? Obviously, the police department were more on his side because they were idolizing him. They were practically worshiping him. And no matter what he did to her, they kept excusing him because they did not want to see him convicted, because they worshipped him just like all the white people of America did. He wasn't just a black hero. He was a hero to the country. You know, that's right.
No, he wasn't.
And to say that racism against him existed in this country is an insult.
You all are so hypocritical. Y'all are such
Do you-
country, Jackie.
do you
But we're
say-
saying that when it comes to the legal system,
The legal
and
system in
that
his case
racism
is
does
100% in his favor.
No.
And it was in his favor.
Anytime it
And
comes
if
to
was
the legal
anybody but
system, I
him,
know.
if anybody but him,
Racism exists.
So if anybody
You
who
can
had
jump
that
up
much
and down
blood
all
all
you
over his
want. When
body.
it comes to the legal system,
If that
racism
didn't-
exists.
He has the best legal
Dance
system
forever.
money can buy.
The mouths that roar, they will anger, they will attack. They are a guest. Angry, outspoken, politically incorrect. The focus of this edition. Of Geraldo.
Five, the Unabomber sends another package, this time to a Berkeley professor. Why the professor, and what's the Unabomber's next move? And has Hugh Grant paid for his crime? We'll tell you what Grant's girlfriend Liz Hurley thinks about it today on Eyewitness News at 5.
On the next Extra, Anthony Quinn reveals his secret affairs.
Of all the pictures I've done, I dared to be bad.
Then, has Eddie Van Halen changed sexy Valerie Bertinelli?
I haven't really been able to connect with that yet.
Find out on Extra.
Extra, tonight at 6:30 here on Channel 5.
Berg & Associates helps injured people. Call 1-800-400-BERG.
Okay, we're back. Angry and outspoken, politically incorrect. Grand Dragon of the KKK, Daniel Carver, do you condemn the people who bombed the federal office building in Oklahoma?
Of course we condemn the people who bombed it, but we're not convinced it wasn't the government that done it. So
What are
they
you
would
talking
have,
about? What are you talking about?
They done it their own self, so that would give them more excuses to infiltrate the different groups in this country and try to disarm us more.
Bob Grant, he suggests the government did it to make the militia movement or the right wing look bad.
Well, to pay any attention to him would make us just as wacky as he is. So let's not demean ourselves by paying any attention to him. The fact of the matter is I cannot believe that Tim McVeigh and Terry Nichols were the only ones involved. I have to believe there were others. I want to know what is taking the government so long to round up the rest of this group. I have to believe there were more involved.
Bob Guccione, what do you think?
But however, how many were involved is beside the point. The point is we should have a quick trial and then execute them. Let's not have another OJ farce going on and on and on.
We should also go back and execute the people who bombed Waco and burn up women and children. We know who done that. Janet Reno got on TV and said, I take credit for this.
Please don't touch
Janet
me.
Reno said, I take credit for this bombing. She should be executed.
I'd like
Nobody wants to touch you.
I tend to agree with what Bob Grant said. I think there's a cover-up in progress. I think that McVeigh is the Lee Harvey Oswald of today. I think he did it. He was one of the people who was responsible, but I think he was a patsy.
Should he have
I think
a trial?
he was set up, and I think he should be tried. And the government is moving slowly. And as
Should
I
he
say,
have a trial like OJ's getting?
I suspect that there is a cover-up in progress.
What basis do you have to say this from?
Well, we're very involved ourselves in investigative reporting. It's one of the things that Penthouse has been doing over the years very successfully. And we have now...
That's not the main thing you're doing.
We now
it's
have...
hard to remember if you're doing that when you see all those pictures in the front page.
We believe that the perfect marriage is sex and politics. Traditionally and
At the same
historically,
time
it
or
always has
separately?
been.
The White House also.
But at the moment, we are conducting our own investigations, and we have about 4 people in Oklahoma City. We've got somebody under 24-hour-a-day surveillance. We don't believe, for example, that was a fertilizer bomb that went off. We believe that it was a different kind of bomb and that it could be bought from only one place in the United States, which we've identified. And we think there's a lot of things that are going on that are not being told to the public that we don't know. We're not privileged to the kind of information we should be.
I want to know about Janet Reno and the Waco situation and Daniel Carver's analogy to Oklahoma City.
Janet Reno ordered, she came on TV and ordered the Waco be burnt. They drove army tanks up to the side of it, squirted it full of gas, and lit it. And women and children
As
were
I
in
understand the investigation, they were preset explosive and incendiary devices, and it was a suicide pact. by the Branch Davidians.
That's what the government wants you to believe.
That's not correct.
That's what the government wants you to
That's
believe.
not correct. There's gonna
we
be
all
hearings
seen
on
on
July
TV the
7th
Army
in
tanks
Washington.
squirting gas after they knock holes in it.
Did anyone see squirting gas?
Well,
I don't know. I don't.
That's why I said wake up. Wake up. It was on TV. They drove Army tanks with drills on the end of the barrel.
They were Rams. I saw the
thing.
Let's be honest about it.
But the fact is that they poured CS gas, which is outlawed under the Geneva Convention for use in warfare. They poured CS gas into that building, which could have ignited by itself. There have been investigations, I think, in your magazine.
Listen, just because a man doesn't make sense.
There would have been another investigation if it hadn't been for Oklahoma.
They're angry and outspoken. They're politically incorrect. They'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Here's a promise from Sterling Bank and Trust. Open a savings account at our bank with as little as $200, and we'll issue you a Visa, a MasterCard, or both. Regardless of your income, employment, residency, or credit history, if you're 18 or older with a valid Social Security number, your credit line will be secured by your savings deposit, and you will be approved. Call now to open your account. 1-800-763-BANK. With our express service, your cards will be in the mail within 10 days after we receive your application and deposit.
My husband is a dentist. He recommended it to me and got my interest up.
This is tartar control Mentadent with fluoride, baking soda, and peroxide. Mentadent helps stop tartar before it forms. Tartar control Mentadent.
It has everything that I need.
If you and your best friend have now become worst enemies, our producers would love to hear from you. What happened? Where did it all go wrong? Call 1-900-8-VIEWER. All calls 99 cents a minute. My best friend is now my worst enemy. We'll be back to the program in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Can you believe that thousands of people pick their dentist from a phone book? How do they do it? Is it by name, like Dr. Gentle or Dr. Smile? Or maybe they just close their eyes and point. But what if you have questions? What if you want more information? Lots of luck. And yet all you have to do is call 1-800-DENTIST, and you can get tons of information on a pre-screened dentist in your area for free. But I guess some people just like to do things the hard way.
The genuine Coca-Cola bottle, preferred by everyone.
But I was relieved to know that it was a way that we could leave this earth with dignity and still afford it and not have to use up every dollar we had.
If you use your head, I think you should make arrangements for these things and be prepared. You can have an automobile accident. Anything can happen.
The final disposition of John's remains, he made that decision. And I agreed with it. And I thought it was quite beautiful because he wanted to have his ashes strewn at sea.
The reason my wife and I joined was because we didn't want to go through the pain. The pain, first of all, of the funeral, the body, the coffin. Didn't want that.
Lifetime membership in Neptune Society of Northern California is just $30. To join or for more information, call 1-800-226-8000. Join now.
Some of their opinions range from disgusting to nearly disastrous. Angry and outspoken, they are politically incorrect, to say the least. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have one question for the grand dork. I don't know how you can say that Waco was like Oklahoma. In Waco, they had a chance to get out, and in Oklahoma, everyone who went there it was just another day.
In Waco, there's children
at a daycare center.
They
What's
climbed
that?
on top of the building and went through the window shooting.
How long did they have to get out?
They didn't
How
have
many
no
days?
time
How
to
many
get out.
days?
They didn't have no
How many
time.
days?
It was the
They're
secret
gun runners.
raid. They
Look,
come in
no,
a
wait a
cattle
minute,
truck.
wait a minute.
Look, they're
I don't
breaking the
agree
law.
with this guy
They
at
come
all,
in a
okay?
cattle truck.
But there
They
were
jumped out of the
problems
cattle
with
truck,
Waco.
climbed on top of
And
the
they
building,
could have
and went
got
through the window and
crushed
fired
before
government
the
says-
siege.
One moment, one moment, one
They
moment.
had no.
No
You're
laws
gonna find
were
out it
broken.
was
One
a
moment, let me
botch
finish,
up.
let me
It-
finish.
The
The
ATF
government,
why
the
do we
government
send the
makes some
ATF
rules to
Bosnia?
protect
They
all
do
of
a better
us.
job.
They say, we don't want this kind of firepower in the public. And then everyone gets mad, you're taking
Why
away
did
our
you- why
rights.
did-
No,
what was
we're
the
protecting
rush?
all of us
What was
from
the
people
rush?
with guns.
There was not any illegal weapons found in Waco. Every weapon they had was legal.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Why didn't they let
What-
them in
no,
to
but-
look?
But what was the rush to go in? Why
didn't they let them in?
have
They
to
went
get it
through the
over
door
with?
shooting.
Why couldn't they wait 2 months? Why didn't they go 6 months? There was no reason to go
Well,
in.
Greg, where do you stand on Waco?
Well, you know, it's very easy to sit back and, like this lady, she's a general now. What's the rush, she says. That thing started, what, February 28th?
So what?
By that
you're
time, it was
taking
April
people's
19th.
lives. Big deal.
But think back at the time.
And it could have gone to May 19th. What was the,
But
if you
think
know?
back at the time, people kept saying,
Look.
why are they letting it go on? Why don't they go in there?
They
Why
could have
don't
gone
they
there and
rescue
got
those
them, but they
children?
didn't have to go in there and drop that chemical weaponry on those children.
I agree. I don't want to be
You see,
in the
basic-
position of looking like
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
defending this administration. Lord
Why
knows
did
I
they
don't.
go in the
Okay.
first
Go-
place?
The woman in the glasses commented
Lynn.
that there were no laws broken.
That's
Weren't there
right.
reports of sexual molestation of children and
There were
and
reports.
abuse?
There were reports that had been investigated over the years and all been proven to be false.
And Janet Reno just said, had she known, she would not have moved
This
forward.
went on days and days and days, and sensible people would have walked out of there. Now, Janet Reno made some mistakes, and maybe she should have been canned, but he has a point. It went on days and days and days.
People might have walked out, but them little children couldn't walk out. I shut up. The little children couldn't walk out.
Well, let's be honest about it. Wait. Let's be very honest about it. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yes.
The fact that this horrible thing happened in that situation doesn't make necessarily the Waco situation any more sensible. Just because that was a lot worse doesn't mean there was necessarily an excuse for this. Because what the FBI did, what the federal government did, has not yet been investigated. It should be investigated. There's enough reason to believe that that never should have happened, and that Janet Reno has no way to justify what she did. That doesn't detract from what happened someplace else.
No, but
Why does one thing have to connect with the other?
This was
Can't two
pointless valid.
lowlifes, can't two people be wrong about both
Absolutely.
situations? And does it have to be that there's any connection between
but
one and the
Oklahoma,
other?
they never
If
had a
this
chance.
guy decided to shoot this woman in the heart and somebody else shot this guy in the groin, does that mean that this one was right and this one was wrong? Can't they both be wrong? Can't they both be disgusting? Just because one was worse than the other, or
Daniel Carver, what do you think of Rich? Come on. What do you think of the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich?
Well, we support him, but I don't know what good he'll be able to do. There's too much against him.
You support him?
Sure.
How do you think he feels about your support?
Well, nobody can
Support the other guy.
nobody can publicly support us, because if they do, you know, we admit we're the underdog.
What is it about
He
Newt
would-
Gingrich that you like?
Well, he's trying to cut out some of the free giveaway programs, you know, welfare, food stamps, housing projects. That's what's destroying our country. We're working ourselves to death to feed the people that won't work. And
And if you stop feeding them, then what happens?
when you stop feeding them, then they're going to start taking, and that's when the race war will come about. We clean this country up.
We'll take a break. Be right back. Stay tuned.
For over 50 years, people have known that Black Mountain spring water is something pretty special. That our water comes pure and fresh from natural springs right here in Northern California. Now you can enjoy this great tasting spring water delivered right to your home. Call Black Mountain and put a little spring in your life. Call now and you'll get 15 gallons and 1 month's cooler rental free. Call 800-752-9999.
Do we have to do this?
Oh, come on. It's like paying the mortgage.
Choosing an individual health care plan isn't easy.
What's the difference? HMO, PPO?
Men are supposed to know this.
HMO, PPO.
So Blue Cross of California created how to choose a health plan that's right for you. It answers the most frequently asked questions about health care coverage.
How do we pick our last health plan?
We let the dog decide.
Rex?
For a free booklet, call your Blue Cross agent or 800-357-8800 and see why more Californians choose us over any other individual plan.
Last year, nearly 1.6 million cars were stolen in the United States. That's one car every 20 seconds every day of the year. It's time to get serious about crime prevention. It's time for the Club. The Club is a tempered steel lock that's tough to defeat. It remains the only vehicle locking device that's police recommended. I believe the Club to be the best vehicle theft deterrent you can buy. That's why I use it on my personal vehicle. Plus, the Club can protect your vehicle's airbag from being stolen. It's a growing problem that the Club is helping to control. But be aware of the lookalikes and the copycats out there. Be sure your anti-theft device says the Club on the handle. Accept no cheap imitations. Get the one vehicle anti-theft device that police officers like myself recommend. Get the Club. It's time to get serious about crime prevention. It's time for the Club.
And let Winner International protect your family from harm with the Door Club home security device. Now available at Sears.
They are beyond controversial, angry, outspoken, sometimes disgusting. Certainly politically incorrect. Welcome back, right? Yes, ma'am.
You in the ghost suit. You talking about the Waco, Texas killings? Won't you worry about the killings you did, you and the KK? Don't worry about the Jews killing. Clean your own backyard first.
I've never killed anybody in my life. Never.
Do you renounce the past of the KKK? Do you renounce it?
No, because it was right in their time.
Do you renounce it?
No. It was right in their time.
You do not renounce the lynchings?
Right in their time to lynch people?
Sure it was.
Well, why not now?
Well, then maybe the Jews were right in their time.
And it's going to be right again in our time. It's going to be self-defense.
Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole recently chastised, reamed the entertainment industry generally, Time Warner specifically, saying they were purveyors of filth. Do you agree with Senator Dole?
Well, there is a lot of junk, a lot of garbage out there. That's why I don't watch it. I don't believe in censorship of any form, in any way. Bob Dole said a lot of things that are true.
But Flo Anthony, what about these gangster rap lyrics? Aren't they destroying the soul of the community?
I don't believe that they're destroying the soul of community. I think in a lot of instances, what we don't understand, Geraldo, is you've got a lot of these young people crying out for help in any way that they know how. I don't agree with lyrics that down women. I couldn't do that and be a woman. But I also do believe in freedom of speech. And as you know, the senator here said, I don't believe in the censorship of anything.
He's not the senator.
Oh, I'm sorry. But what I wanted to say in response to this gentleman here at the end,
about
1
the
minute.
shipping,
Yes, if he knows anything about history, Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. He wasn't trying to send anyone back to Africa, number one. And number two, if he knows anything about history, when Thomas Jefferson wrote the Constitution, he wanted to free the slaves. Just hush a minute, because I can't believe I'm lowering myself and sitting here with you anyway, but Geraldo's my friend, so I'm here. But Thomas Jefferson wanted to free the slaves when he wrote the Constitution, but he was afraid the South would withdraw from the Union, so he did not. But for as long as history has been out, legislatures wanted to free slaves, and nobody was talking about Africa, maybe sending you back where you came from, but not us.
By the way, talking about sending people back where they came from, as far as I understand history, there were Indians here. Why don't you start sending back? Send you back where you come from, wherever that is.
They were here, but
okay,
Blanquita.
One thing is, quickly, I want to ask our KKK Grand Wizard or whatever he is. Thank you. Wait a minute. What would you do if someone burned the flag? What would you think someone should do if they burned the flag?
I don't like it, but we have free speech in this country, so there's nothing we can do about it.
Because I got a guy here that will say that, you know, he doesn't like burning the flag, but he'll go out and burn a cross. And here we've got...
We do not burn the cross, we light the cross.
I get upset with the fact that you don't want to be tougher on these rappers that will hurt.
But the reason I'm not tougher on these rappers,
You know, the trouble, I want to criticize the producers of this program, if I may, Geraldo.
Go ahead, Bob. Have at him.
The trouble with having this guy on this platform is that silly, stupid outfit is distracting us. we're not really talking about issues the way we should be discussing. We're all focused on that stupid outfit.
Does anyone on the panel agree with Senator Dole's call to censor the entertainment industry?
No, he didn't call to censor. He never said censor. And I'm the liberal, and the fact is, I think what he said is fine. There is a lot of crap in the media. You know, there he is on the end. But
can I just answer her question about not being tough on rappers?
I got upset because I felt that flow should be, I mean, here, we're talking about the whole idea of rappers. Those lyrics are not only nasty, I mean, they're violent
But let me tell you
against
why
women.
I'm not tough, because it is a legal way for my young brothers to make money. They're not out there selling drugs.
Wait a second. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. In all due respect, wait. Excuse me, this is something more important than the whole conversation. I'm getting real deep. I don't mean to disturb you. God bless you. You're a lovely woman. You mean well. I know you're very sincere. But let's figure out why you're not making sense. Because the truth of the matter is, how would you feel if people said you should go around shooting children or shooting women? What if all the white people said, let's assume a man like a Ku Klux Klan said, start killing blacks or killing Jews? Would you say, I have to give my brothers an opportunity to express themselves? Would you say, well, why would you give your brothers an opportunity to express themselves any more than he should express himself? They're saying kill cops. Are you saying you should give them an opportunity to express themselves?
Yes, you should. And it's because it's a legal way of making money.
Why do you condemn him and justify your people? Why do you justify anybody? What if I announce today that from tomorrow we should start shooting all the black people in the streets? You know what you would say? Let's put a stop to this. Let's march. Let's do something about it.
But you're talking about murder. Talking is a lot different from murder, Jay.
But they're singing kill cops. They're singing kill cops. Half of those kids. Wait a second. But you're saying you have to give them expression. You have to give. I can't believe it. You should give expression.
Women thing.
You should give
I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to back down because they could be out killing somebody instead of doing something legal.
I just want to say they're rapping about where they come from, and they rapping about everything that's going on. A lot of times, sometimes police could be very brutal, and these people are sending a message, and it's just like if Bon Jovi or Michael Jackson have a message to send out to anybody.
there is an element of racism in this because everybody's pointing at the rappers. And nobody pointed at Guns N' Roses, who had these anti-gay songs. They don't point at the real hard rock groups that are white people.
They should be held accountable to the same thing.
For your information, racism has nothing to do with it. Violence is the issue. And violence should be colorblind. Violence should be colorblind. And you shouldn't call anybody.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
People watch football on Monday night hoping for overtime.
Well, if your idea of excitement is sudden death...
We'd like to suggest an alternative.
Sudden life.
You want an adrenaline rush?
You're on.
Chicago Hope, Mondays.
I'm a single parent who came from a nothing job with no money to a great job with pretty good money, thanks to Healed.
I had the world's most boring job as a file clerk, but today I'm an administrative assistant at a law firm, and Healed made the difference.
As a placement director, I'm in touch with businesses on a daily basis. That means I know where the jobs are. So when you graduate, I'll do my best to help you get the job that's really right for you.
Classes start July 24th, so call Healed now.
Uh-oh, I've got a problem.
Problem? Oh, boy. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Gangway! I hope they're open. Tight squeeze. Woo, where is it? Okay, let's not come up short again. Ah, Scott tissue. Good stuff. Charge it, Pete.
There's nothing like Scott bathroom tissue. It's soft and strong, and with 1,000 sheets, it lasts long.
Delivery? Come on, pet me. I know you want to pet me.
Scott tissue. Soft, strong, and lasts long.
Stanley Steamer's rolling out the Dirty Carpet Challenge. We dare you to let us clean your dirtiest, most spilled on, stomped on,
walk all over area of carpeting. If you don't see an improvement after our safe steam cleaning, you don't pay. So find your dirtiest carpet and lay it on us. We guarantee you'll see a big difference. Stanley Steamer. Tough on dirt, gentle on carpet.
Call Stanley Steamer today about our current carpet and upholstery cleaning specials.
Angry, outspoken, politically incorrect, Bob Grant. As you know, the governor of California, Pete Wilson, recently signed an executive order outlawing all affirmative action state programs in the Golden State. Do you agree with his action? If so,
Oh, absolutely. I agree with it 100%. It's about time. I congratulate Pete Wilson for signing that executive order. And I think we'll all be better off once we put this insanity of affirmative action behind us.
Lynn.
Yes, and Bob would probably like you to do the same thing, and then he wouldn't have these 3 women around him, and you could just have a whole panel of white guys.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I think
It's got nothing to do with this panel at
You
all.
might not be on this show because Geraldo being Hispanic, I mean, affirmative action plays a part in what he does.
Geraldo is on this show because Geraldo is good, not because Geraldo is Hispanic.
Well, I think that it's good that people who are, you know, Hispanic might not have been able to book you.
They use in the National Basketball Association. The New York Knicks say we want the 11 best players we can find. So what if they're all black? So what? They just want the best team.
Don't you think, Bob Grant, that affirmative action is necessary, or certainly has been necessary, over the past 3 decades to counteract forces like nepotism, forces like racism in the union movement, forces like the institutional discrimination against people of color?
Well, I do agree that institutional discrimination had to be ended, and it has been. I like what Nathan Glazer said. Equality of opportunity, not equality of results. And what these people behind the affirmative action movement went to was they went beyond equality of opportunity to equality of results. If you and I take a test and you do better, you should win the job, not me because they feel sorry for me.
But in many instances, sir, you have to, the affirmative action enables the minority person just to take the test to get to the job. That's what you don't understand. No, but
Need I
affirmative
ask Daniel
action
Carver what you
enables
think
that.
about affirmative action?
Without any test that's ever been given,
Africa.
any test that's ever been given to promote
What's a test?
white people always score higher, and that's why they had to come up with affirmative action. Blacks cannot compete equally with whites.
If a white person did score higher in many instances with those standardized tests, it was because of cultural. It was because of cultural deprivation.
Even
whereas
in Atlanta,
minorities were not geared toward taking these tests.
If Jaime Escalante ever taught us
still can't pass it.
If Jaime Escalante ever taught us
that word one more time, I might have to come down there and punch you.
Well,
I'm sick of that. Now you stop that. You have some respect. You have some respect.
Women are violent.
No, you just need to have some respect. No one has disrespected you and called you anything out of your name.
That's right.
No one has
Besides calling him a
disrespected
pig,
you.
nobody said anything.
You can't expect a worm to give you respect.
You can't have law and order, too.
That's right.
You know,
see, there's no such thing as law and order.
I pass a rule. I've been bleeping it. I've been bleeping the N-word right from the beginning. Daniel, don't use it again.
It don't matter if you bleep it or not. Look, we've called them
I don't care. Shahrazad Ali, what do you think of affirmative action?
Well, I think, unfortunately, I have to
Shahrazad
say...
Ali, what do you think of affirmative action?
Unfortunately, I have to say it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to my people.
Go ahead, Shahrazad.
I think, unfortunately, it's going to be the best thing that ever happened to my people because as soon as they end affirmative action and welfare and all of those other benefit programs, it's going to force my people to try to do something for themselves and start relying on the government.
Wait a minute.
And as far as there not being law and order, there is no law and order in America. Law is something for white folks and order is something to keep blacks in.
See, what really hurts to hear from all of these people is it's my people, this race, that race, white people, black people, brown people. We're all Americans. We're all the same people. This is our country. And it's good to see that we have an opportunity. This is a land of opportunity. But this guy...
They're all taken up for... But if I take up for white people, everybody condemns me.
What,
you can do that. You
what
can take
white
up for
people accept your assistance and
No
you're taking
one.
up for them? Any white people in this audience?
One-on-one outside, all of them would. One-on-one outside, all white people would agree with
All
me.
you know about is hate. Won't you talk about something good? Well, your Jesus get in your heart.
Well, shut up,
all
boy,
y'all,
like sheep.
yeah, that's all you know how to do. This. Get a go somewhere with that stupid outfit you got on, you monkey.
Jackie, it's your turn to comment, then we take a break.
Long.
Okay, shut up.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
I want to tell you the truth. I think this man should definitely be allowed to say whatever he wants, but not in this country. I think instead of sending the blacks to Africa, we should send him to the North Pole because there's nobody else there, and he'll pass away by himself.
We'll be right back. They are politically incorrect, to say the least. Take it.
Before the satin comes the silk. Before the cashmere or denim, the silk. The silky skin that comes with Caress Moisturizing Body Wash. It not only cleanses, it has essential moisturizers to nourish your skin every day. Nothing leaves you silkier. So before the linen or lace comes the silk. Before you dress, caress with Caress Moisturizing Body Wash.
It's never fun to eat and run, to rush and eat too fast, 'cause you know it's gonna catch up with you at last.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
The beauty of Summer's Eve is the way it makes you feel. So pure, so clean, so fresh. Summer's Eve. The beautiful way to feel fresh.
Find out how female bodybuilding carves outer beauty and inner strength, and get the hard facts on how to conquer your fitness goals from the hardest bodies in the business. Next, Geraldo.
Gordon, right?
Yes. Have you ever worked with anything high-tech?
No.
Thank you for the resume.
But we're looking for someone with
More education.
Some experience.
What you don't know can hurt you. So let ITT Tech help. Call 1-800-942-0088 for an informative brochure. That's 1-800-942-0088.
Next.
Minor arthritis pain isn't going to hold me back, so I use Ultra Strength Bengay. It has 3 pain relievers. They only have 1. It's the strongest Bengay ever for deep penetrating warmth to help the pain go away. Ultra Strength Bengay. Nothing stronger.
Next time you see your dentist, you may hear about advanced formula plaques, recommended by more than 30,000 dentists. It loosens and removes more plaque before you brush.
My teeth feel great.
Advanced formula plaques, 30,000 dentists strong.
You're not trying to cheat me out of my cut, are you, Frank?
You got me all wrong, baby.
Tonight on Primetime.
Your cut's right here.
A juicy half-pound, slowly roasted and carved to order. It's Lion's Prime Rib Dinner Special.
Because if I thought you had a dish on the side.
Actually, you get a choice of 2 home-style side dishes.
Oh.
Don't miss our signature prime rib dinner at the dramatically low price of $6.99. Because at Lion's, it's all about the food.
Now Super Lotto gives you another chance at big money. It's new Super Lotto Bonus 7. Buy 5 plays and you'll get a free play for a chance at $200,000.
Lynn Samuels, what do you think about gay rights? Are you for or against it?
Of course I'm for gay rights. Why, they're just like everybody else. You know, they do something different in the bedroom, but that's private, except in some people's
They're
books.
not just like everybody else, and our Bible says they should be put to death.
No, your Bible does not say they should be put to death. They're just like everybody else. They
Our
get
Bible
up, they
says
go
a
to
man that
work,
lays
they
with
drink
another man as
coffee.
with woman should be put to death.
watch
Their blood will be
Geraldo.
on them.
I'd like you to recite the verse, the book and the verse
Well,
to
it
me
wouldn't
from
matter
that.
to you if I sat here reading the Bible, you'd boo, you idiot. The Bible says they should be put to death.
The Bible
Tell me where in the Bible it says that, since you're so smart.
It don't matter what I say, God has sent AIDS down here. God has sent AIDS, and it's a wiping them out. And we praise God for AIDS.
You praise God for AIDS?
We praise God for AIDS because it's a cleaning up this country. AIDS is a racial disease, and it's a gay disease, and it's a cleaning them up. AIDS is the #1 killer. #1 killer in this country is AIDS.
Geraldo,
yes, we praise
Lynn
God for
is
it
being
because God said He would
disingenuous
send
when she
diseases
says they
if
just
we didn't
want to
obey
do what
His
they
laws,
want to do.
statutes, and judgments.
Good. She's being disingenuous when she says they just want to do what they want to do in the privacy of their own bedroom. If that were the case, I don't think there'd be any problem. They have made it public. They have insisted that institutionalized America accept them. Fine, I accept them as individual human beings who may be different from me in only one respect, and that is they have this proclivity for homosexual activity. But when they try to get me to say, hey, you know, there's no difference between being a homosexual and being a heterosexual, there is a difference. And if
they're not saying there's no
we're in
difference.
deep trouble.
They know there's a difference. They can tell the difference between a man and a woman. They know there's a difference. It's not the difference they're talking about. They're saying just because they prefer another man who also wants to fool around with them 4 o'clock in the morning, it's none of your business. And they're telling you that when they go to work on a job, if they're not disturbing
Why do they
you...
have to tell me it's none of my business? I never made it my
If it's
my
none of
business.
it... But you want to deprive them
Why
of
do
certain...
they have to tell me it's none of my business? I never made it
Because
my
people
business.
want to deprive them of certain rights just because they're a homosexual. People want to deprive them of rights and opportunities and for the freedom and the job opportunities.
Bob
and the
Guccione, where does Penthouse stand?
What right?
We don't think that sexual orientation has anything to do with anything.
Bob Grant, then I'm moving on.
Well, I think, if they don't try to shove it down our throat, I think that...
Shove it down our throat, did you say? Wait a second. This is a family show. This is a family show. I don't know what kind of family you come from. In my family, they don't talk like that.
Is he coming out of the closet?
If a gay person doesn't make it an issue, as far as I'm concerned, it is not an issue.
Don't ask, don't tell, basically. But I want to talk about crime. Crime is an epidemic, a pandemic in our country. Is our society, Flo Anthony, out of control?
I think that we are out of control, but a lot of the problems with crime in this country is the state of the economy. You've got all the homeless people. You've got, children continually dropping out of school because they're going to school hungry. The state of the economy has a lot to do with the state of crime.
Everybody's got a reason for why they're doing something that's unacceptable, and everyone says, oh, yes, we have to let them off. Nobody will put them away for a long time. I mean, this is a system right now. Our society is the kind of thing where we have not accepted our own responsibility.
But you go back into history, this whole country was founded on violence. We came over here, we killed all the Indians so that we could have the country. Then we brought over all the slaves and enslaved people. This is a whole country
Let's
whose
all
entire
slash
history...
our wrists en masse.
No!
What did she say?
Recognize history.
Finally, Flo Anthony, here's the issue. The most egregious problem in American society today is race. True or false?
It's still a very large problem. Very true.
See, I resent that statement because that implies that the white people of this country are still basically racists.
We are.
And the white people of this country, are not like this man. They're not like this man. The white people of this country resent this man as much as the black people do. And the white people of this country do not hate blacks, do not hate Jews, do not hate homosexuals. Homosexuals today are the proudest people in America. Every time 2 homosexuals get together, a parade starts.
And with the affirmative action being backed
I think that the problem is it's too easy for everybody to blame their problems on the other person keeping us down. If you want something done, you got to get out and do it yourself, get your hands dirty, take care of your own business.
The biggest issue in this country today certainly is not race. It's crime and it's drugs. Now, recently, we just did an article recently that showed that the CIA has just pulled off the biggest operation.
They sell drugs on every corner.
Shut up for 5 minutes.
That's why they got AIDS.
Shut up, will you?
Poking needles in each other's
Listen,
arm. Get your hand off me.
the biggest operation in the history of the drug business in the United States was just pulled off by the CIA. $5 billion worth. $5 billion worth in Mena, Arkansas, under the nose of the then governor, Bill Clinton. I don't hold him in any way responsible for it.
George Bush.
But this is what our government, when I say government...
We're joined by Nigel Ennis, ladies and gentlemen, national spokesperson for CORE, Congress of Racial Equality. The man in the cone head says that African Americans are largely responsible for the crime wave.
Well, I mean, if you look at these statistics, there's no question that blacks commit a disproportionate amount of crimes. Now, we're not the majority of criminals, but we have to examine the problem without passion, without reservation, without our bias, and look at the problem realistically. But we have to understand what the roots of those problems are as well and attack those roots. But there's no question that blacks commit disproportionate amount of crimes. Now, after you make that point, I doubt seriously that I would come to the conclusions and have solutions to that big problem that this conehead would have. I think my solutions are going to be fundamentally different. And I see.
And you'd raise my taxes to feed them.
No, I'm not for raising taxes. I'm not for raising taxes. Now I see my friend Mel Sachs over here saying...
noted attorney, Furt Run.
And I see that he doesn't want him on the stage. I think it's very good to have this man on the stage. And I think it shows how far this country has come, that we can all of us, regardless of our political affiliation, denounce this man, and that this man does not represent these people out here and the people around this country.
Let me take a break. I have to be right back. Stay tuned. Angry and outspoken, the politically incorrect. To say the least.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marcia Brown. When it was a champagne tour high above the Napa Valley, today it turned tragic. Another scathing critique about technology from the Unabomber. The latest on who got the package this time, plus all the news coming up at 5.
Not all attorneys specialize in personal injury cases, but in our firm, that's all we do.
William L. Berg and Associates. Call 1-800-400-BERG.
Ants live outside, humans typically inside. The trouble happens when ants come inside. Thousands of them, without knocking. At the Combat Labs, we invented a way to stop this. New Combat Outdoor Ant Killing Granules. Sprinkle them around your house. Ants take the bait back to the colony and share it. The colony dies, outside.
Introducing Combat Ant Killing Granules. Stakes, too.
Now, it'll just be humans inside.
Today, bad breath is polluting our air. Now's the time for Big Minty Certs, the only mint with retsin to freshen breath. Freshen your breath, save the air, have a Certs.
If you're entitled to Medicare and join HealthNet Seniority Plus, this is what your monthly health plan premium will be. $0, which is exactly what you'll pay for hospital services. $0. You'll only pay $5 to see your doctor. Speaking of which, we have a network of over 14,000 private practice HealthNet Seniority Plus.
For free tickets to the Geraldo Show, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Geraldo Tickets, 524 West 57th Street, New York City, 10019. Or call 212-265-1283. Promotional fees provided by
Alpine Lace, fat-free cheese. No fat, 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 no fat.
I was a size 16. I was fat. And that's when I decided to go to Jenny Craig. Now I feel great.
Hot Pockets.
Try Lean Pockets, too. Final statement, Bob Brown.
Final statement is that I think we've come a long way. I agree with Niger. We dwell so much on the negative. We talk about all our differences. And yet, if you put it into historical perspective, Niger is absolutely right. We have come a long way. We've got a lot further to go. And if we cut out this multicultural baloney, we will go that final mile.
Shahrazad Ali, your final statement.
Well, I think that crime and drugs are a problem, but crime and drugs have served America because crime creates jobs and drugs medicate the people and keep them from seeing the light.
Wait, Shahrazad, you're for crime and drugs?
No, I said that it's a bad thing, but it has served America because crime does create jobs for other people and drugs keep the other people medicated so that they're not able to
Blanquita, final statement.
I agree with what Bob said. We've got to stop being hyphenated Americans and being Americans. We've got to start looking at the political right or the political left and what's right for this country.
Lynn.
Well, I agree with the both of them also, is that we need to accentuate the positive for a change.
Bob Guccione.
I, again, agree with them. I think that censorship, this is an indication that censorship doesn't work in this country. The fact that you can have a disparate group like this. Censorship is one of the most fearsome things to face our society, and race and all of that has much to do with it. Putting cameras in the courtroom has a lot to do with it. So I think we've got to take stock of ourselves, treat ourselves and think of ourselves as one society, one person, and act accordingly.
You know, we must be doing something right. We have, with all our differences, the richest, most powerful country in the history of the world. So something must be going right.
I think this man...
Good. If the white paper don't wake up...
On the set or up close and personal, the movie industry comes to you on Extra, tonight at 6:30 on KPIX5.
And I say...
At one time, this clown virtually controlled the South politically and consequently controlled the United States Congress. He no longer does. We all uniformly denounce him, regardless of the ideology.
Jackie, final.
That's right. And I say, to me, it's amazing how people who couldn't get along for an hour and a half all agree with each other all of a sudden about everything. But I want to say that we should all get together. That's the main thing. And follow this man home with a gun. And I think the Jews should be in charge of the march, and we should, and if everybody will be here.
Politically incorrect, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Co-starring Jackie Mason.